Yeah, hi Michelle, nice to meet you. This is Kevin, a recruiter from Lingua Language Institute. First of all, I really appreciate that you're taking your time off today to participate and apply for our institute. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So just as a brief introduction of our language institute, it has been almost like 20 years since we had this in around like near the Jingu area. We do have about 200 to 250 students, and right now we do have about like two foreign teachers who are kind of fully committed to teaching our students, like age ranging from like a preschool to the middle school. Unfortunately, like the actually his name is Darwin, and he's actually going back to his country this coming March. So we are actually trying to find his replacement. He has done a really like great and wonderful for in terms of like teaching performance. So that's how our company like kind of posted job ads on a lot of different sites. And I think you got to apply through Davis Cafe or something.
Yeah, I applied through there.
Yeah. So long story short, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Like, can you briefly tell me about yourself?
So I'm Michelle. I'm from America. I recently, no, sorry. I've been teaching at Kids College for 1 year now. And I really enjoy teaching kids. I think I have the personality for it because I'm very energetic. I think I adapt well to kids' personalities as well, the classroom environment. I also tutor middle school students on the side, so I personalize their own lessons to their own needs and their levels. And yeah, I really enjoy teaching. I came to Korea. I was actually born here, but I moved to America when I was 5. My dad was actually an English teacher here in Korea. That's how he met my mom. So I'm kind of like doing the same thing my dad did.
Cool.
Yes. However, I do have some questions. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a little worried though because I look Korean. Like I am mixed, but I know some Hagwons prefer more foreign-looking teachers. So I wanted to ask if your institute, do they have any preference for that?
Not that I know of. That's something that I need to like. I've not any like discriminated against like any race or by people's colors or something like that. As long as like they're fully capable of teaching them really well, and if there's like they excel in what they're doing, like I don't think the director cares too much about their race, you know.
Yeah, I hope not because the reason why I'm leaving my current school now is because my director cares about that a lot now. She even like asked me personally to dye my hair blonde to look more foreign. So when she told me that, I was like, I'm done. I'm leaving. Like, I can't deal with that. Like, I understand maybe it's not really their management's control. It might be parents' sentiment or something. But like, I know how Korean society is because I'm half Korean. So, but like, that's kind of why I'm looking for a new job. And like, it's really sad though because I love teaching and I think I'm pretty good at it for just 1 year of experience. So I would love to find a place that doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, I totally get that. I feel so sorry that you're going through that kind of moment and process. And speaking of your kind of career experience, like in that kind of aspect and matters, like I'm actually like pulling up your resume on the right hand side of my kind of computer, and it seems that you graduated at UW, University of Washington, right? Is it near Seattle?
Yes, near Seattle.
Yeah, and it seems that you kind of graduated with a pretty good grades and dean's list. Can you share? So you're kind of recent grad, like were you class of 2020?
2020.
Yeah, were you? So you're pretty like recent grad, like graduated from.
Recent grad.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. So can you briefly share your college experience or your work experience, like regarding teaching or like communicating with any children, interacting with parents, something like that?
Yeah. So my major was totally unrelated to education or teaching. I was a politics major. However, I actually took a politics / education class that kind of it talked about education systems, education around the world, and all of that. And I got more interested in that aspect of politics, so I got an internship after graduating. It was at the Library of Congress, and I was kind of in charge of the education children's project related to like government holidays. So I was in charge of that, helped with that. And so after that, it kind of sparked my interest in, how about I kind of like take this a little further and maybe experience what education like is in Korea. So I came here. And my first part of teaching was actually online.
Interesting.
Because of COVID.
Right.
So that's why it was kind of like overlapping with me graduating. So I was kind of doing that a while. And then I finally came here to teach in person. So, yeah, that's basically kind of my, it's not a very long experience teaching, but so far, I think I have, compared to other teachers with a lot more experience, I think for short time, having short amount of experience, I think I'm pretty good at teaching. I'm confident.
That's nice.
I think I control students pretty well. And I also like to be creative, so.
All right, sweet. Yeah, since this is like first time interview, like I'm not gonna ask you like, too deep or too like kind of like I don't know thought-provoking questions or brain teaser stuff, but yeah, since like this is our first time, maybe there could be quite a few questions that I want to ask you because personally I've worked in America for X amount of years and I'm also working for like kind of the kind of company's experience, and sometimes like it's good to like share a lot of like questions, so you can you can answer whatever you want. You can like keep it concise, you can keep it descriptive. So yeah. So how does your usually friend or family describe you as a person?
They would describe me as the opposite of what they expected. So when people first meet me, they think I'm very quiet, studious, shy, but I'm actually very outgoing. I like to have a good time. I'm very personable. I'm good at being personable, so I can get along with anyone. Like, I can get along with any personality type. I know how to adapt to people's personalities. So, like, when it comes to, like, the hierarchy in Korea, like, if I'm talking to an older person, I know, like, how to, like, shut real Michelle out and be, like, respectful.
Yeah.
More reserved Michelle. But, yeah, I think that's how they would describe me.
Cool, sweet. I like that. Have you like did you happen to like do any research about or institute or like what kind of like do you have any like general impression or like what do you know?
So the Hagwon that I work for now, the teachers that I work with, which are great, I get along with them very well. They told me about Lingua, and they said a lot of good things about it. They said that they're jealous that I got an interview. They're like, I want to work there, and I'm like, really? It's that good? And I was like, and they're like, yeah, and I was like, oh, yes, I'm excited. So they told me very general statements. Like one of their friends works there right now. And she loves it. She's also half Asian like me, and she hasn't experienced any like, discrimination, anything like that. And so I've heard good things about it. General good things.
Nice, sweet. All right. So do you mind if I ask you probably like your life priority values, or in terms of teaching, like what are some like core teaching values that you have for students or for parents or for coworkers? Yeah.
Core values, I think, is respect, teamwork, being kind to each other, knowing how to behave in a classroom, and carrying that into the real world as well. So I think character development as a child is really important.
Totally.
And so I teach them to be kind, respectful, generous, knowing how to share. Like sometimes they'll fight over color pencils. I'm like, let's share, everyone. Sharing is caring, okay?
Right.
So basically, I think those are the three that I really care about. Working hard, make sure you're doing your work, listening, stuff like that.
Cool. I like that. So do you mind share your like advantages and disadvantages of your personality in terms of like working for Hagwon or working? Yeah.
Let's see. I'll start with disadvantages. I think in terms of my personality, I think sometimes I'm not good at speaking up, or maybe not necessarily confrontation, but if I see, like, I'm working on it now, but if there's like a problem that I have with something, I'm a little kind of shy to speak to like higher people and mention it,
right?
Like the management. So I think that's one thing that's a disadvantage. However, I think advantages. I think I have a personality that works well with kids. So I'm very energetic. I like to have fun. I want the kids to have fun. I want their learning to be fun, their experience to be fun. And I think I get along really well with all the teachers. We always have lunches together. So I have a very adaptable personality. So I think that's like the main advantage.
Awesome. Great to hear that. Yeah, teamwork, adaptability is definitely like one of the most sought after kind of characters in every kind of community or workplace that you could ever ask for. So, what do you like to do for fun? Like, what's your hobby?
What's my hobby? I play the cello.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been playing cello since I was like 10,
Nice.
all the way through high school. I stopped in college because I didn't really have time for it. But I still play like by myself at home. I really like going to the karaoke, norebang,
Sure.
soju sometimes,
Nice.
But, yeah.
Have you mingled and mingle or like settled down in Korea well, like finding housing or like making Korean friends? Like, what was your kind of biggest cultural barriers, or what's your like, kind of general experience like in your Korean life as a Korean American?
So before, I would only visit Korea just to have fun, like in the summers. But I never actually lived in Korea and experienced what living is like. Because visiting, having a vacation is totally different than living in Korea. And I think so far I've adapted pretty well to it. I think in terms of like making friends, it's really hard for me to make Korean friends. Like I make foreign friends really easily because I feel like foreigners, they're a little more personable in my opinion.
They are.
Koreans are definitely more shy when it comes to meeting foreigners.
Okay.
So it's been kind of hard to make Korean friends. I did make one Korean friend, which is good. But she only likes to like go out for soju, which is not good. I need to like more diverse group of friends that want to do more things. But yeah, other than that, housing is good. One of the teachers that I work with, she hooked me up with housing for next year, and it's in Hyundai.
Okay.
So it's a really very spacious apartment.
Oh, nice.
So really cheap. So I got really lucky, and it's really nice.
Oh, nice.
So thank God for her.
Amazing. So let me see. So compared to the other like teachers or as a person, like what do you think is special? What's sort of the unique part that you could kind of proudly kind of present?
The unique part.
Yeah.
Maybe that. Okay, I don't look mixed. I don't know what you think. But a lot of people when they see me, they're like, "Oh, you're straight up Asian." But I feel like the unique part is I'm mixed, so I have two backgrounds. I mean, some people don't think white people have a culture, but there's like, I am half white, so I feel like, kind of coming from two families, I've like, have a more expanded mind. I can understand both sides. I kind of like, I I think I come from like two experiences, kind of like the best of both worlds. Maybe I don't know.
I get your point.
So-
I get your point. Yeah, as a Korean American or Asian Americans who grew up in both different races, different cultures, like I could definitely see,
Yeah.
a lot of your upbringings could bring a lot of diversity in yourself, and
Yeah, a lot of diverse thinking.
yeah.
Like, so.
So my question is like, how do you respond to your peer or supervisor feedback? Because in our lingo, we do have some periodic feedback from students or coworkers. They sort of tend to evaluate one another to keep up with the pretty good high class quality and whatnot. And then some people react really sensitively. Some people like Sims don't care. Some people, it really varies, right? Depending on people. So
Right.
not all people could give you bad comments, either good comments. So there's always room to improve. And in our private management, we're trying to also like diversify and try to like make it more professional in the sense that these like new MC generations, like of course like 8 to 5 or whatever the 8 hours and 40 hours per week of the fixed sort of X amount of hours are expected, but we just want them to be more spontaneous and more self-motivated. So that's the part of this kind of performance review. So in that manner, it's like, yeah, what kind of person usually you are in terms of responding to peer or supervisor feedback?
So I actually respond very well, in my opinion. I'm not a sensitive person.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like feedback because as a teacher with only like 1 year of experience, I want feedback because I want to improve. So I think so far, just for 1 year of experience, I think I'm doing pretty well. But I have received feedback, and after hearing the feedback, I definitely fixed my mistakes and got way better as a teacher. So I do like hearing criticism, especially when you're a politics major. You're constantly criticized, so like you know, in like class and stuff. So I'm used to it. Yeah.
All right, cool. What do you think is the ideal classroom like in terms of atmosphere, like student body, or just anything? Like, do you have any expectations, or if you, for example, were to get hired bilingual, like, how would you make your classroom like?
I would make it.
Because the reason why I'm asking is we do give a lot of self autonomy to a lot of teachers. Like actually, there are a couple of branches, Lingua in Busan, and not all of us are like following same like curriculum or system. So especially in our branch, we're trying to give a lot of freedoms, a lot of creative environments to teacher. But sometimes like freedom and creativity could mean double-edged sword, right? Just too much freedom or creativity, if they're out of the line or if they're out of our curriculum, that wouldn't be too bad, too good. But at the same time, like we all the time like try to find some balance, right, between just a value of something. So I was just wondering, yeah.
So I think it would depend on what they're working on. So if this was like a more speech focused, like speaking, like focusing on their speaking, I would like want to put the classroom into like kind of groups.
Yeah.
In like little circles of desks, and then have them focus on like speaking activities so they can like talk to each other, blah blah blah. If it was more like textbook based, I think it would be more so like kind of rows or something like that, so that they're not talking to each other, they're focusing, they're doing their work. I'll try to make it as lively but also controlled as possible. So like it depends on the activity we're doing. Like if we're doing like a creative craft or creative activity, something, I would want to make it more like group based, like lively. If it was more textbook based, I would definitely have it look more controlled in the classroom.
Okay. Cool. So could you share one of the probably the most incredible experience and most awful experience from your last job in terms of like teaching students?
So far, I would say the most incredible experience was watching my student win the speech contest.
Oh, nice.
So there's like, I don't know, it's like a kind of local speech contest with like other Hagwons. And my student Logan, he won the first place. And just seeing him improve over time from his speaking skills, his pronunciation, I was just so proud. And everyone was happy. So that was, I think, the best experience teaching, just seeing your student improve. I think my worst experience is what I already told you. Them commenting about my appearance, wanting me to look more white, foreign. I think that's probably one of the worst experiences.
Okay, thanks for sharing. My follow-up question is like, what kind of like life priority values like do you have in your life or as a person? What's the biggest motivations that you live this hard, or you kind of like break through and try to break out of comfort zones and challenge whatnot?
I think one of my biggest core values is empathy. Like, I feel like in society, I mean, it's like you can look at it at all levels, but if you see it on like, sorry, I'm like a politics major. Like,
that's fine.
If you see it at a political level,
sure.
I feel like when you make policies, you're thinking about what the public wants, right? Well, that's what a democracy is supposed to be. But like, I don't really see empathy anymore in a lot of those things. And I feel like just as a person, if you want to get along with others, you need to empathize with their position. They are coming from, and kind of be more understanding with why they think that way. Maybe you can have a more civil conversation with people from different backgrounds.
Okay.
So I feel like empathy really drives that, just to be more understanding. That's one of my core values.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. So my question is like, from your previous company, like, what were the age of like children that you used to teach?
So I'm teaching right now 5 to 7-year-olds.
5 to 7. Okay, they're kind of pretty young. So have you ever experienced of like teaching any middle school students or high school students or?
I haven't experienced a classroom of middle school or high school students, but right now I am teaching middle school and high school students. I'm tutoring them on the side.
Okay.
So like I think I know kind of like what kind of curriculum they need, what kind of level they're working on in terms of English, but obviously it's a different experience if you're in a classroom. Okay. So I don't have experience.
I get that. I mean, so because in our lingua, like we try to give like teachers like a very special, I don't know how to say in English, so a special kind of position or some kind of wordish, I don't know how to say, some kind of different weight on different classes. So each teacher has their own different strength. And as you can tell in Korea, like a lot of people like tend to like still criticize that we do have some pretty bad dichotomy or the educational system in terms of teaching students, but in some sense it could be like very segregated. It could be like very systemized or logically kind of bipartition, in the sense that we focus on either like reading, writing, speaking, speech, reading books, like pop song classes. We do have like numerous classes. So among all those kind of different sections of like languages, right? Like what kind of section do you think you would probably teach the best?
I think for me, because I'm a politics major, sorry, I keep going back to that.
It's fine.
Speech and speaking.
We do have debate class as well and discussion.
Debate classes would probably be my strength, because
okay.
I worked on that a lot in college.
Okay.
Speaking classes in general. But I think I'm pretty good at all levels, but if I were to say my strength, it would be definitely debate, speech, all of that.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, like you may not feel comfortable like teaching Korean grammar or somehow like the kind of semantics to students, which is like what most Korean teachers do, or are you also be okay with teaching them? Like, I mean, we're not gonna force you to teach them, but I just like try to kind of touch. Yeah,
I totally think that's a great way to help them understand English better, is to like kind of have the Korean translation. However, unfortunately, my mother decided not to speak Korean to me when I was young.
Okay.
So my Korean level is terrible.
It's fine.
I can read Korean. I know some grammar. Like my conversation level is probably like basic. Like I can talk about basic things, but if it's like very technical things, instructional or like textbook language, my Korean is very weak. So I don't know if that would be
Yeah, makes.
I
I mean,
could try.
since
I
I mean
could
this.
try.
Yeah, this position is supposed to be native teachers. This was just my personal like questions to get to know more about like you as a teacher.
Oh,
So
okay,
you don't
okay,
need to mind about it. I was just wondering.
okay.
Um, have you ever? Actually, I don't need to ask you this for a Korean teacher question. So I think that's pretty much it from my end. Like, do you happen to have any questions or?
Yeah, so I did hear Lingua Institute, they hire Korean teachers and English teachers. So is this for the Korean teacher position or English?
This is for the native teachers positions. That's why I wanted to like have an interview with because I knew that you're half Korean and I knew you're
Right.
fluent in English, but I've taught in lingua probably for quite a few years as well,
Oh,
and
okay.
also worked as a recruiter. And then I actually grew up in Busan, South Korea. I actually studied in lingua, and I went to
Oh,
university in
really?
America, and then so yeah, I'm the kind of the first generation. I wouldn't say first, but maybe second or third kind of recipient of this education.
Mm-hmm.
So I can confidently
Wow.
say that like I've got so much boons and benefits of getting lingual education. So I can proudly um, like advertise or like present this system or this kind of program to even to teachers, students, parents, whatnot. But it was very different based on my experience to attend the school as a student versus as a teacher.
Mm.
Yeah.
So as a teacher, has your experience been good overall?
Yeah, it was like really wonderful. Actually, I wanted to like keep working on that, but like director kind of want me to switch to this position because he as the business like kind of grows because I'm really like
Mm.
bilingual and I'm really like talking with people and HR like is really also my thing. You know, I studied computer
Oh,
science and
right, right.
economics, so I'm having like quite a
Oh, wow.
three or four jobs right now, but primarily I'm
That's
focusing on
that's
this.
good.
Um,
Oh, that's really
but
cool.
but overall like yeah the reason why I thought the lingo was the best in terms of this education environment was we are kind of the institute that really like seeks for really great balance among
Mm.
human relationships and because so previously like when I was in America like I've worked for Google for like a year or two and then we did have some core values like when people evaluate others such as like in this kind of manners like people tend to like judge them by two things. First is how competent they are in their field. Second is how warm they are as a person. And
Mm.
based on those kind of standards, I think Lingua is trying to find and really elite kind of warm people who are not like vicious or who are not like evil spirited or mean spirited, you know.
Yeah.
So we try to like um, choose or select like some selective ones, but after the COVID happened like it's getting harder and as you can tell it's like just not just lingua problem but just the whole nationals like academies are kind of going through pretty tough times to like, recruit really good people.
Yeah, I can totally understand.
um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's good to hear. I definitely think evaluating a person's character is really important
Yeah,
when you're hiring
because
them.
because we believe that like every kind of hard skills like we could teach them or technical skills after we hire them, but the kind of soft
Hmm.
skills is not something that we can like easily manipulate or ask them or force them to change, you know.
Right, right.
So that's sort of the so soft core values are what kind of really think important very much compared to the other kind of technical skills or like skill stack or something, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
That's why I asked you maybe some like weird. How I mean, I could have asked you like more weird and kind of funny questions, but I didn't want to like look too weird for you because you're
No, it's
just like
fine.
new grad.
I like weird questions. So.
Yeah. Speaking of that, then let me ask you one kind of funny brain teaser question. So,
Oh
mm,
no.
how many? So I mean, you're kind of political science major, but I'm just like, how many? This is like hypothetical, like kind of funny, kind of ironic question, but like, how many foreign teachers, okay, across the globe, want to come to Lingua in Busan, South Korea? How many of them want to apply?
How many would want to apply?
Right. Yeah. Just hypothetically, and number doesn't matter. I just want to see how your thought process goes.
Um, However, many don't have a job.
Sure. Let me ask you this way then: how many Google searches are done in Korea regarding like this kind of language academies, like teacher position?
How many Google searches?
Yeah, for example, like Lingua Language Academy teacher position, something like that. Like how many potentially, like hypothetically, like how many Google searches are done per se? You think?
Probably thousands. Thousands, because like I definitely think teaching in Korea now is very appealing to foreigners, especially with the whole K-pop wave, cultural wave.
Yeah, speaking when it comes to that, what do you think is the catch of them like coming to Korea and like teach the kind of courses?
Like what do you think makes them want to teach here?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like teaching English in just any Asian country or foreign country comes with a lot of benefits. Well, they advertise a lot of good benefits, such as housing, a good salary for a lot of the teachers. Also, just experience something new. I feel like a lot of teachers come for that.
Cool. So, you're currently residing near Haeundae area?
Yes.
And do you have to ask your kind of current your visa status?
So I'm F4 visa.
Okay. F4. What else? Do you have any other?
Do they have F4?
Yeah. I think we do support F4. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what else?
I think that's pretty much. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Do you have any more extra questions?
So is this just for one particular position you're interviewing for?
Yeah, because of this the COVID and whatnot, like we usually do have two and a half or two like native teacher positions. So and one teacher is leaving. That's why we're recruiting another one.
Oh right. So I actually forgot what like a specific Hagwon, like the location I was applying for.
Oh, it's fine. So it's located near the Gaya station, which I think is about 3 or 4 stops away from Samyeon.
Oh, okay. That's not too far.
So from Haeundae, maybe like, I don't know, 45 minutes, like by subway, Green Line 2. I'm not too sure where what exact kind of subway station that you live, but.
And then what are the hours?
Hours are usually like 1 to 8:30 potentially. So our like first class actually starts from like 2:20. And then the final class ends at 9:10, right? But in between, usually most teachers come here by 1 or 1:30 and they prepare for the kind of like daily courses and whatnot, print out materials and prepare for the class. But sometimes if you have like empty kind of class, like that's the time when you can like have your food. We have like 5 minute or mostly like 5 minute or 10 minute break. I have to double check. I think it's still 5 minute. And then you have about like 20 minute like dinner time, which is kind of short, but it's kind of like manageable if you don't have class afterwards, you know. And then if you kind of teach above certain number of courses, like we give you extra pay for that.
Okay.
And then we kind of like give award or prize to teachers like at the end of every semester, like who performs the best by the vote from teachers or students and parents.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Kind of evaluation system.
Good to know. Yeah, now I remember. Sorry. Because I remember this interview, but I forgot specifically like the position.
It's fine. So
it's like a different portal, but like anyways.
It's fine. So do you mind if I ask like when's your last day of this current job?
My last day would be March 1st.
Okay. So I think time should be around. Okay, right. We usually like hope to like if you get hired, we usually are by the rule of thumb is we usually like have them for first like 2 or 3 weeks, mostly 1 or 2 weeks. I'm sorry to like shadow the previous teacher so that you could sort of get the hang of like what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
You can completely take over like what they're doing. Okay, so the time doesn't have any issues. Living in Busan, F4 visa. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it from my end. But any more questions?
I'm curious because I know how popular Lingua is. Like, I'm curious how many more interviews you've done for this position to see my likelihood if I have any chance.
Oh, so are you asking that how many more other candidates that I'm looking for, or?
Yeah.
So you're actually the first interviewee that I'm having, and then I have about like 3 or 4 until next week. I don't like usually like direct. I don't like book all the interviews with all the applicants. I first definitely like take a look at their resumes, and then the more they show, then like the more appealing they look. Definitely like some of them like even embed their own website or videos, social SNS accounts, which could be like too much. But I kind of personally prefer like that kind of person who's proactive and who wants to like who's like a go-getter, you know.
Okay.
But I mean, that's just me, right? It's like I don't want you to like kind of force yourself to do that and customize yourself to maybe Korean Academy, because I sort of also had like I stayed in America for 5 years. I think I pretty identify myself as kind of Korean Americanish kind of vibe or
Right.
idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do. But this is just the first round, and I'll definitely like send out. I have to like write a report and send out this to the director, and he's gonna like decide who's gonna be up for the second round, which I think is gonna be the final round, pretty much.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So if you were to get called, there might he's gonna ask you to kind of like show your demo class in front of either his teachers or a couple of students.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe like that's something that you may want to keep in mind for any kind of testing position, because they just want to see like how you kind of are seen in front of a lot of like students.
Okay. Well, thank you for even giving me this interview opportunity, because I heard about Lingua, all the teachers were raving about it, so I was like excited, but thank you anyway.
I'm sorry that I probably didn't give you or ask you too many like implied rude questions. I hope like you didn't take it any personally. Some of the kind of direct or straightforward questions.
Oh no, not at all. Those are normal questions to ask. So.
Yeah, but I hope you had at least like not a bad experience on this interview, and I hope.
No, I had a really great experience. Thank you so much.
So I'll let you know the result no later by end of next week's, and I bet, and I don't blame it all. It's like all the time many-to-many relationship, right? So I think that you're also applying for a lot of different academies. I'm also interviewing with a lot of other candidates. So, but I'll definitely like discuss this matters, and just send me an email by the end of next week if I don't get back to you, in case maybe because I'm like have 3 or 4 jobs right now, so many things going on. Sometimes your mail could go into under the spam mail or something.
Okay.
But again, thank you so much, Michelle, for today, and I look forward to meeting you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.